I don't know how much of this has come up on this show, but I have been obsessed with the musical of Little Shop of Horrors for the last
Oh
3 weeks. I'm like, and you and I have talked about this in multiple circumstances and so on. I've just become like part of the way that I'm processing and like coping with the various things happening in our world right now is that I'm diving deep on Little Shop of Horrors. I'm like listening to multiple cast recordings from the years and like comparing the different like I'm going out into space on this thing that is not a thing that I've had particularly strong feelings about through my life leading up to this moment, but I feel very strongly now. And that musical was written by Howard Ashman and Alan Menken. That's the songwriting team that went on to do the three, in my opinion, big Disney Renaissance movies. Some people will say Lion King. Those people are not me. Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. They did those three movies. And then Howard Ashman, the lyricist and the writer and the director of the initial production of Little Shop of Horrors, he died at a very young age during the production of Aladdin. And it's like it is a catastrophically sad story, in my opinion, because of what a genius this guy proved himself to be through like a decade plus of excellence in a genre that I don't even think of myself as caring that much about, which is musical theater. So there's a documentary that Disney Plus has on it called Howard that is just about Ashman. And it's like a very standard documentary where it's like they talk to different people that he knew during his life. They talk to his collaborators. They have footage and, audio tape of him from various interviews throughout his lifetime because, Little Shop of Horrors was such a smash hit at the time. And it's like off-Broadway production. It has, it had a movie that was a big success. And then obviously the Disney stuff is like in my opinion, like world changing. Like those three movies are so monumental.
Yeah.
It made so much money for so many people.
Yeah.
Artistic elements aside, those movies made so much money.
Yeah.
Okay. So like there's a moment where he's talking in one of these interviews about Little Shop of Horrors. Little Shop of Horrors is an adaptation of a Roger Corman movie from like 1962, I forget, called The Little Shop of Horrors, which was shot in 2 days on sets that were at night on sets that were being used for other higher like value productions. It's one of, if not Jack Nicholson's very first performances where he plays this dentist who, gets killed and fed to the plant in the thing, right? And it's a super low budget. It's a B movie. It's like 72 minutes long. And Howard Ashman in this interview, talked about looking at this film and being like, talking about what was meaningful to him about it. And then he admits in this interview, like, yeah, it's a great setup, but after the first half hour, you fall asleep because it's just not any good. So that's a problem that we had to solve in adapting it. And he says a thing that has stuck with me that I want to share with you because I think it's really useful for just thinking about GMing generally, GMing specifically pre-written material. And it's bringing insight to me and it's bringing focus to me, and that's why I want to share it with you. He says that the experience of adaptation, the experience of adapting something, is that you find the thing that you like about whatever the thing it is that you're adapting. And then it's like you're having a conversation with your friends. You're figuring out, how do I communicate to them what's so good about the thing that I'm adapting? How do I frame the thing that I'm adapting in such a way to communicate to other people why I'm so enthusiastic about it, why I like this thing so much, why it is that this is so important to me? And like in the case of Little Shop of Horrors, him making that decision freed him up to rewrite the back half. He doesn't feel any reverence for the parts of the thing that don't work. He only wants to take the parts of the things that are exciting to him and transfer that excitement to an audience by being like, here's why this thing is good. Here's why you should be excited. And now let's support that with all this other stuff that we're going to come up with to make that stuff work. I think that this is what GMing pre-written material is like. Is you look at it, you find the thing that you like, and then you have a conversation with your friends to try to articulate to them why it is that that thing is so good, why it is that it's so, like, where your enthusiasm comes from, and you try to, like, bring people in on, like, on that stuff. So
I love
that's
that.
only tangentially related to what it is that we're talking about, but I wanted to share it with you because I thought it was, like, it was like just it's a very simple thing, but it was like a nice little spark for me.
I love that. And I think too, one of the things I love about it is this is not as insightful as I thought it was going to be, but you're just taking the energy and love you have and sharing it.
Yeah.
And I think that's
and you have all kinds of different tactics that you can use. You can
Yeah.
use different devices. You can use whatever you want to use.
but the core of it is just sharing things with people you love, which
trying to take the feeling that you have and put it into other people.
I love that. I love that so much.
And it means that if you want to cut the encounter where a bunch of like dog earth elementals pop out of the side of the cave and attack you because like you don't care about it, just cut it.
Yeah.
If that's not a thing that brings you love, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Share the parts that you like with people that, you know, that you're playing with.
Yeah. I love
And try
that.
to create the feeling in them that you have when you get excited about something.